Hello everyone. You may be wondering why I'm in a Java skin, but I'm cooking up some Star Wars related content soon, which is gonna be pretty fun to work around with. But for this video in particular, it's gonna have nothing to do with Javas. We're gonna look at pawns for the garden, and I think it's a really cool feature now in 1.17 where we have the different waterlogged items and blocks that you can add to underwater terrain, right? So making ponds, stuff like that down there is like very, very cool. And yeah, I basically crafted this house just to have a pond with it. And here we go. This is the main focus of today. So for this build, I used the raw iron blocks and some tuff and some cobblestone. And you can obviously use a lot of different varieties, and that's one of the things I will talk about later is the palettes that you can use. Because depending on what kind of theme you want, if you want like a koi pond, in this case it would be like some gravel stuff underneath. Um, Other things you could work with would just be like something with the dirt color. You can even do something with the dripstone because that's a really nice texture now that you can even mix in with the raw copper ore, which I will show in the future as well. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So let's get started. So first thing first, let's take a look at the characteristics of a pond. So I actually set up a little workstation here for us to figure out what a pond actually is. So let's open up the search bar, click on the keyboard here, and write in what is a pond. Click enter, and let's see if we can find anything. So we got some websites here, and I think if we scroll down, there you go. So a pond is an area filled with water, either natural or artificial, that is smaller than a lake. Ponds may arise naturally in floodplains as part of a river system, or can simply be an isolated depression that is filled with runoff, groundwater, or precipitation. Alright, that was a very technical explanation of what a pond is. But what we can gather from it was that it either has the river flowing towards it, or it would be like a filled area of either groundwater, runoff water, or like a precipitation that has been filled. So basically, a lot of ways to do it. And it also very much depends on the way that your biome is set. If you have any rivers nearby, if you have it like lowered. Anyways, I think we're done with this area now. So let's jump back into the other creative world, and guess we can end it on this note where I'm just tapping the keyboard. I'm sorry, I just had to do that. Okay, so here we have the different color palettes that I kind of came up with, and they're kind of just speedily made, because in the end, you're kind of coming up with the design on your own, and I recommend using blocks that you have yourself, because these are going to be covered by water regardless. So unless you want that extra little texture underneath, it's not really that important. It's more about the shape that's actually really important to make a pond look really good. But let's power through them here. So as we move down, you can kind of see how you can have different color variations with the new blocks. And especially as we take a look at the dripstone here, you can kind of use the actual dripstone pillars to make it really look cool. Anyways, if we jump back into the other world, where I have placed some of the actual ponds already, you can kind of take a look at what I mean with the dripstone pillars example over there. So right here you kind of see the texture I'm going to be using. But okay, so as you can see here, I kind of played a little bit with the dripstone, or pointed dripstone rather. And you can make some really cool stuff with it. In this case, I just went with the bird strip wood and the sand flooring, which also works out. You can kind of do whatever, right? With a few moss blocks at the bottom to kind of add some variance in the underground, right? But and then just the moss carpets around it. But that's obviously up to you as well, whether you want that variance or you have something built around the pond. You can do a lot of stuff, right? So if we take a look over here, I kind of came up with I don't even know the weird way to grow the spore blossoms, right? So they're just kind of floating here. And I'm cheating a little bit. I'm using the barrier blocks. I'm not sure whether you can put it underneath trapdoors. You can do that with the low berries, but I'm not sure about this. Oh, you can. Okay. So if you want to make like a floating platform, that's probably the best bet. Maybe another color. I'm not sure. I think the warped trapdoor might look good with that, if you're up for that. But here we have a little bit of a different one. So I'm actually using the gravel, cobble, and tuff mix here. And I think it's pretty good. Oh yeah, wait, I forgot that block. Anyways, as you can see, we're kind of using the dripstone again to kind of make a little island. And I think that works out really, really well. So one of the really cool things about the dripstone is that you can kind of make them connect. And then you get that. But yeah, this is another suggestion of what to kind of do if you're out of ideas for your garden. Adding a little pond with some details is like really gonna liven up the place. So this is literally like a perfect square or circle, right? You want it's completely symmetric is what I'm kind of talking about here. And that's kind of my thought process when building stuff. I think it's much easier to make something perfect imperfect and make it look good that way instead of building it imperfect from the beginning, if that makes any sense. So now that I have this shape out, I can start to add some different things to kind of make it a little bit less symmetrical and add some different shapes into it. And as you can see there, it just like just doing 3 blocks there just changed it a whole bunch. It made it more, I don't know, natural, if you could say that. So everything has its imperfections, right? And I think like making it a perfect round shape maybe, or like perfect shape before adding all the details really helps out, because then you have a better way to kind of approach it. And I think that happens a lot in building. So one of the things I see people struggle with when doing like bodies of water is usually the fact that they have to put in all of the water, right? So when you do it in depth like this, you have to kind of have a source block to make the water on the top, right? At least that's the easiest way to do it, right? So usually what I do is just grab a bunch of netherrack from when I've been in the nether, and I just kind of plummet it all over the place. Originally, I kind of thought maybe using a scaffolding would be really easy, because you would just have to break the bottom one if it was like standing on a pillar. But in this case, we're just using a netherrack, because when you actually place water inside of a scaffolding, it's on the actual like block itself. So you place it inside the scaffolding. And it also doesn't spread, which is what we kind of wanted to do automatically, right? Plug it right here. You can see if we continue to add water, it's gonna continue to spread. And that's one of the benefits we don't really have with the scaffolding, sadly. And we can even grab some of the water sources from here. And I just messed up there. And you can see it kind of spreads pretty fast. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that if you use another like block that will be easily breakable with a pickaxe, you have to be a little bit careful when breaking the netherrack here. But it's fairly simple, right? It's an instant click, so just keep that in mind when you're doing it. And everything should go pretty smoothly. Another thing to keep in mind is also, if you're using slabs under the water, you sadly have to also waterlock them. There's no way around it, you just have to do it. It's gonna take a little bit more time, but in the end, if you're looking down at the pond every now and then, it should be a pretty nice look. So there you go. Add another one down there. And let's see, one there, and one there, and that's about it. Pick up the netherrack, And let's take a look. So here we are. Now we just need to add some bone meal. Pretty simple stuff. There you go. And that's about it. Just add some lily pads. Remember, if you want them to orientate a different way, there's no real way to do it. You just have to be kind of lucky with the random way it will always look, right? So you can always, for example, if they're facing the same way and they're kind of close, you can put it one block apart, and then it should help if you are not happy with the orientation. There you go. Also, maybe that is too much there. So we can add something in the middle there. Perfect. So that's kind of how I do it with the pawns. I think that's the best way. If you have any other methods, please write them down in the comment section. But yeah, I really appreciate when you leave a comment and hit the like button, because I know that you appreciate the video that way. And basically, I'm looking forward to doing a lot of other stuff as well. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we're kind of gonna work on some Star Wars stuff soon. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And any questions in the comment section, and I'll try and answer everyone. But yeah, this is gonna be it for this video. So thank you so much again. And bye.